company.
Well, wasn't this part of the problem with the Ukraine stuff?
Oh, yeah.
That was part of the problem.
I don't know what you mean, but I am agreeing. Hunter Biden, yeah.
And the family. There was a bunch of shell corps that were involved in that.
Yeah. Well, Hunter Biden's an attorney, number one, and he did some financial investments, but he certainly had a very healthy budget for fun. And now he had a budget for extracurricular activities. And where does that come from? It's a slush fund that comes from a lot of shady dealings. This guy had no expertise in energy. He was he's a consultant for Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. And now we've given the Ukraine, I don't know what it is. It's an insane amount of money.
I think the last count was, is it $170 billion? How much money have we given to Ukraine?
And it's just interesting that that's the country that our president's son was having his little internship.
It's just a coincidence, dude.
I know.
Sometimes coincidences happen.
But we can't, you know what it is? It's like, I watch the worst people in the world, the people at Beverly Hills who like scream at valets and yell at their nannies, and they're not humanitarians.
Right.
Overnight, they all had Ukrainian flags.
Yeah.
It was interesting. They don't care about Darfur, the Sudan, anything going on in Africa. They don't care about any of the problems happening in countries like Yemen, but they all immediately decided, almost overnight, that the only humanitarian crisis worth caring about was the Ukraine.
Well, when baseball season's over, you start paying attention to football.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
That's what it is. It's sports for dorks. Just how much aid has the U.S. sent to Ukraine? Total $75.4 billion. I think
there's more.
I think that's
I was seeing more too, but this is a few
and you
things
know how much of this aid
together.
disappears?
First of all, isn't it funny that we're saying $75 billion? I think it's more.
We're
that's a
it's
low
nothing.
number.
But how much of this aid disappears off the backs of trucks?
Right. Oh, it's $113 billion.
I don't know. That's his past president.
And by the way, you could start looking into how much of it is just evaporated, how much of that money's disappeared, where it went.
Well, there was this one story about this one guy who had pilfered off $1 billion, and they didn't even arrest him. They just made him resign.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that story about?
Yeah.
Like, I read the headline. I was like, I'm going to get to that eventually.
Right.
Did you see that story, Jamie?
Whenever you're dispersing money in a war, it's always strange because you have to pay people off.
Oh, yeah.
It's a perfect place for things to disappear, money-wise.
One of my favorite moments during all this was the New York Times going after Candace Owens.
Oh, sure.
Did you see that?
For what they had reported.
They said to her, what evidence do you have that Ukraine is corrupt?
It's corrupt.
And she said, your fucking newspaper.
Article.
And
yeah.
she starts from just a couple of years ago.
Well, it
was like 2017 or 18
there was a million
like
Vice documentaries about how Ukraine was the home of white nationalism. The thing we were all, supposedly, this was the greatest threat to human civilization.
Right.
And we were told that every single day. This country, the Ukraine, was a white nationalist country that had lots of these groups that fomented terror and they were going to start working with the white nationalist groups in America. And that's what, there was articles written about that. There were documentaries about that. All of that went out the window.
Do you remember when?
Right out the window.
Who was it? Was it Jon Stewart that gave that dude the award? And
He
had
gave him
Nazi
a medal.
tattoo?
Yeah. and I'm sure Stewart doesn't even know. It's like, this guy's a hero. You pin something on him. But they're avowed neo-Nazis in that country. They have SS tattoos. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's not everybody, but that Azov battalion is a huge force, and
that's so wild.
It's wild. And it's one of the reasons people think Zelensky, who's going to sign those Minsk Accords and end this little civil war issue they had going on in the northern province in Donbass, he didn't sign any of that. People think, and people have, pontificated that either those hardliners in the Ukrainian government and military go, you sign this, we'll kill you. Like if you use or the U.S. State Department was like, no. You don't sign this. You keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, God.
And if there is a war, we have your back.
Oh, my God.
And this is a well-known fact that everybody wanted some type of agreement early, before there was a war, with these northern Russian-speaking regions and the government of Ukraine, so that there was autonomy to a certain degree, that they could speak the language, that they could have political parties. And I'm not saying that Russia is like, even though I am spiritually Russian. Someone told me that, and I have a Russian aesthetic, but that's not why I'm saying this. I'm just saying the facts are all there, and we've had this long, bloody war in which every time this guy wants to negotiate or thinks about, we go, don't, keep going, keep fighting. We got you. And then, Nikki Haley, all these people go, no, it's civilizational. By the way, nothing's regional. Everything's civilizational. Israel, Palestine, civilizational. It's odd. It's like, but wait a minute. That's been a regional conflict forever. Since 1946. They go, no, it's about our values. It's about our values. So we got to send them billions of dollars, and we might have to get involved because it's about our value. And you start going, wait a minute, it's about our values in northern Ukraine? So all of these little, and I'm not saying they're little, but all of these conflicts, we can't not get involved. We can't in some way. We have to be involved. We have to fund them. We have to give weapons, because we convince everybody that all of these conflicts are a big battle for the future of civilization. And the next step is Putin's going to steamroll Vermont. He's coming to Vermont. You let him do what he's doing in the Ukraine, he's going to steamroll. He's coming to Aspen. You want to see what happens when Russia owns Aspen? Like, and nobody thinks logically, like, maybe we like war. Maybe we just like having a constant business.
Maybe Eisenhower was right.
Yeah.
When Eisenhower warned people when he was leaving office, I mean, that should be required listening to anybody that's confused as to why we're doing certain things.
Right.
They're making a lot of money right now. And if they can keep this rolling.
Yeah. They're making great money. And I'm not making any of it from that.
And if you could have some sort of a motivation,
in.
you get some sort of a motivation, like you're trying to save civilization.
Oh, always.
You can justify so much.
Now, notice that when Saudi Arabia is killing Yemenis, it's not civilizational. That's not civilizational. But Ukraine, Russia is. And anything that goes on in Israel and Palestine is. But when the country of Yemen is being starved out, bombed, and killed with money and weapons from the U.S. through Saudi Arabia, that's not civilizational.